Whoa, this is weird for me to be on the baseball channel holding this microphone. If you subscribe to the other channels, you know when this microphone comes out, I'm talking business, but mostly 99.9% of the times it's basketball. So it's weird that this is here because we're talking baseball. Listen, the comment section, the DMs, the mentions have been going crazy saying, Kenny, we want to see you give your predictions for this upcoming MLB season. So I got y'all. MVP, Cy Young winner, Rookie of the Year, who's going to win the World Series? I'm telling you today, because this is not a prediction video. This is 100% facts. The reason why I was hesitant to drop this video because I want you to enjoy this season. I didn't want to spoil it for you. But since y'all keep asking and keep begging, here's the 100% accurate. I can't even call it a prediction because it's real. No, in reality, I'm just a guy that started watching baseball last season. So the likelihood of me getting anything right is close to zero. But if I accurately predict this league's MVP, the AL MVP or the NL MVP this season, that's it. That's raps. Put that on my resume. I will not live that down. I will continue to bring that up every single season. You remember back in the 2022 and 2023 season where I said this person was going to win MVP? Yeah, I was right. You know what I'm saying? I might have shot 0 for 13, but I was right about that one. Wait, I can't say shot 0 of 13. I batted 0 of 13 because this is a bait. You see up here, I finally put up my Tim Anderson signed bat. Which is dope. That was in my basement for like the last year or so, but you never saw it because I never filmed videos in the basement. But are we ready for this? So this is the way I laid this out. I have my MVPs for every conference. I have my Cy Young, and with MVP and Cy Young, I went top 3. Rookie of the Year, I went number 1, and then I decided to give you the winner of each conference, and then at the end, I'll give you my World Series prediction. I just want to remind the people around here, if you're new, I am a casual baseball fan. So I'm talking baseball and I might misspeak. Just it's okay. Please just be okay with it. And you know what? I think I want to start off talking about the teams I think that are winning each division. Let's do it that way. Then we'll get to the heavy hitters, the MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year a little bit later. Let's talk about the teams that I think might be at the top once the season ended. I know that this year they're doing the playoffs a little bit differently, but if you ask me right now what the playoff format is, I'm going to tell you I don't know. So that's why I didn't pick wild cards because I think there's more wild card spots, but I don't really know how many at this time. And even though I did some research, I didn't think to look that up. So I'm just going to give you the team that is finishing in first place. All right. For the AL Central, that's where we're going to start for a lot of these things because, well, I'm a fan of this organization. I think that the Chicago White Sox do it again, but call me crazy. I am happy that the Tigers made moves. I'm happy that the Twins made moves. I'm happy that the Royals got some stuff going on and the Guardians signed Jose Ramirez and didn't trade him away to a different division. Because last year, the White Sox cakewalked through or ran through every single team in that division. And it was cool, you know what I'm saying? We was at the ballpark eating Franks. We was having a lot of fun. But then playoff time came around. I was like, oh, snap. This team is a little bit different than the Detroit team that we beat up all season long. So the fact that Detroit is better and the fact that the Twins are better, I think it's going to be overall better for us. But I still think we're going to win the division. But I just like that we might have better series once the regular season come around with our rivals, if you want to call them that. I got White Sox number 1 for the Central. Now that I'm thinking about that, there's a guy in the Central that I'm adding to my short list of MVP players. Yeah, because he's going to be healthy this season. At least we hope so. So picking the winner of the East in both conferences was extremely difficult for me. In the AL, I decided to go with the Blue Jays. I know that they ended up winning, 90 games last season and didn't even make the playoffs. I think this season they're going to be a lot better, especially since they get to play at home full time. And I do think they have this little bit of an advantage because there are going to be some players that might not be able to play in those away series in Toronto. And listen, man, I said the same thing about the Toronto Raptors. The fans of those organizations, the players within those organizations deserve a little bit of an advantage after a year or 2 years of them playing outside their city. So if a team want to come in and play a series in Toronto and they're upset about the status of whatever, I don't really care. Go Toronto Blue Jays. That's my winner of the AL East. And I don't want to go into basketball, but listen, it's got to do something for the psyche, right? where the Toronto Raptors played in Florida for an entire season, and they had people coming into their games that wasn't even fans of their team. So imagine it being a home game, but nobody's rooting for you. The Blue Jays kind of went through that, but the Blue Jays, I feel like, are kind of a universally liked team because they have so many likable players. But now they're officially at home in the Dome. And you know what? I want to take a trip to Toronto and be in the hotel room that's attached. I think Troy Dan did a video there. I thought it was pretty cool. I want to go there. But I still do like the Rays because the Rays are gonna do Rays type things. I like Wander Franco because he has a little bit of swagger. You're gonna realize if you watch this channel for some time, I like players that are A, good at baseball, but B, have a little bit of a personality. I think there are some people around the league that are amazing baseball players, but I attach myself to the players that might pimp a home run a little bit, that might add a little bit of flair to a routine play. And that's why, again, I got this Tim Anderson bat because he might not be the best shortstop in the entire game, but he'll let you know when he hit that no doubt. You feel me? So that's why he's my guy. So I still do like the Rays' opportunity or situations there. And even the Yankees, they didn't do anything super crazy, but they made some moves around the edges, didn't really get better in their pen and everything. But hey, there's a couple teams out there in the East that could win, but I think the Blue Jays should be able to take. Out West, I think that most people will probably pick the Astros because even though they lost some people in Carlos Correa and Zach Greinke, they lost, and I feel like I'm forgetting. They lost another really impactful player for them last season. Regardless, they still have a really, really good team out there. Like Kyle Tucker is ridiculous. Jose Altuve is ridiculous. They got a bunch of bats in that lineup. They got good defense. They got good pitching. But this might be the one that y'all might disagree with. I have the Mariners ending their playoff drought this season. I like so many of the moves that they did this year. Now, there might be a little bit of a log jam, in my opinion, in the outfield between Jared Kelenic. They brought in Julio Rodriguez. They got Mitch Haniger out there. Who else? They traded for Jesse Winker, but I'm just going to assume he's going to be DH. And then Kyle Lewis is going to come back. They got some people out there in the outfield. They got to figure it out. But they got a ton of bats. They got good pitching. They upgraded the pitching, y'all. And last year, I found myself rooting for them down the stretch. So you know what? I'm still Team Mariners until you go against the White Sox. You feel me? So I have them, and I guess that means that my second pick is going to be the Stros. So maybe they're a wild card. Again, I don't know how the playoffs work, but I would assume that both of these teams are going to find their way into the playoff. The Angels got two of the best of all time, maybe in the league right now between Trout and Ohtani, but the around the edges thing is confusing to me. Of course, baseball being like one of the most team sports is going to take more than some generational talents, which is weird to say. It's going to take more than two generational talents to make some noise, and I don't know if they have that on their roster. I'm going to go to the NL Central, and I got the Brew Crew, the Brewers, winning the Central. And you know what? They might do a convincing. I think there's some people on the Cardinals that might make it a bit interesting. Hey, don't let my father hear this because my father bred his kids to be diehard White Sox fans. From the moment we were able to go to a White Sox game, we were there, and we proceeded to go to like 5 a year at bare minimum, a year until I hit my adult life. So all of us, every one of his kids are White Sox fans. But I will say, though the Cubs roster is not good, there are some decent players, some players that I actually enjoy on that Cubs roster. I grew attached to Nick Madrigal. Actually, I was at a card show here in Chicago, the National Card Convention here in Chicago, the day that Nick Madrigal got traded. I had bought a signed, where's that card? I bought a signed Nick Madrigal card, and I'm driving home from the event, and I get the notification that we traded him, and it was bitter. I got mustard on my pants. It was bittersweet when I found out that we traded him, but it was for a guy that was supposed to come in and help. And let me get that card. People be asking me what's in the briefcase. Some of my cards. That's in those briefcases. But look at that Nick Madrigal auto. Literally, the day he got traded, I bought this. So I'm still attached to bro. You know what I'm saying? And I know they talk about his barrel percentage and boom, boom, boom. He's a short king. They used to be a White Sox player. I'm a fan of yours. Then they got Seiya Suzuki, who we'll talk about a little bit later. Maybe that's a spoiler. Just know that I'm going to be at some games at Wrigley. I will be undercover. I will not be wearing anything that's red, white, or blue, but I will be undercover at Wrigley a few times this season. Catch me there. Out West, I got the team that is a God squad, a literal God squad, the Dodgers. Even though, you know, when Tatis comes back, I'm sure the Padres are going to be in the conversations. I don't know how much I believe about the Giants season. It just seems like from everywhere I've read and everywhere I've listened to when they were talking about the Dodgers last year, it was such an anomaly of a season because they're the oldest team of all time, apparently. So I don't know how much they could replicate last year's success. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers because from 1 through 9, they got somebody that can be in MVP conversations, which is wild, and the pitching is still good too. So that's the team I have winning the West. And now East, it's a bit interesting, man. My top 3 teams in no particular order right now are the Braves, of course, coming off their World Series year. They got the Mets, of course, who spent a lot of money before the lockout and then made some moves out of the lockout. Now, they already started off with some injuries to DeGrom, and I think Scherzer may be injured right now, too. So they got some injuries already before the season even started. And then I like the Phillies, man. And I think the biggest question mark about the Phillies is, like, can anybody pick up a ground ball, or can anybody make a routine play? So it's the defense, you know? But, like, they have so much firepower. Who needs defense? Who needs defense if you're going to put up 9 runs a game? You know what I'm saying? But I think overall, my prediction to win that division, losing Freddie Freeman hurts, but then you got Matt Olson to replace him. So I've learned in just my 1 year of fandom that you should not bet on the Mets. They probably do better when you're not betting on them. So you know what? I'm going to say the Braves win the NL East. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say that the Braves win the NL East. And the Mets are going to be close, and the Phillies might be close, but yeah. I like this channel because I can be as biased as I want to without any consequence. You know, my main job with the NBA stuff, being biased is just bad for business, right? I can't talk about the Bulls for 24/7 or pick Bulls players to win awards because people see right through that, and people don't like that in the community. So far around here, I have not seen that just yet. I've had a few videos where I almost exclusively talk about the White Sox and nobody seems to bat an eye. So when you ask me who my World Series winner is, I'm going to say White Sox. And you know what? I hate the fact that a lot of people have the White Sox in the World Series. I hate the backwards curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, John Boy has them at least being in the World Series. Trevor Plouffe has them being in the World Series and losing to the Brew Crew. I don't like that the expectations are that high, but I'm still putting them on myself. I'm saying we're going to win the World Series. Us versus Dodgers. White Sox in 7 is my prediction. But if you're making me pick outside of the White Sox, I'm going to say Jays. Jays versus Dodgers in the finals would be crazy. And in that series, I want to go with the Jays. Anyway, let's get to the official awards. Remember, I'm just a dude with a microphone that knows nothing about baseball. So here I am on my AL MVPs. Number 1 on my list, I've said it a couple times on Twitter, it is Luis Robert, Louis Roberts, whatever you want to call him. Lou Bob is my AL MVP first. I just feel like he has all the tools needed to do this thing. He cut down. This is from Foolish Baseball, by the way. This right here. He cut down his strikeout rate significantly last season, and as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be the best player on the Chicago White Sox, who again is my World Series pick. So I'm picking him for my AL MVP. That is my biased pick. But number 2, I got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And number 3, I'm kind of taking the world's word by picking Mike Trout. Last year, Mike Trout didn't really play, and I did not go back to watch highlights of Mike Trout. So I'm going to take everything that everybody said about Mike Trout at face value and say that he is a god. And because of that, I'm excited to watch him play for basically the first time ever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to add him in top 3 because he's a generational, one of the best of all time to do it. And then the guy that I added earlier, even though I'm going top 3, I want to see Byron Buxton have a good, healthy season. I think Byron Buxton is another one of my favorite players to watch. In the NL, my MVP is Juan Soto. There's not a ton of reasons to watch the Nationals. But you got a guy like Juan Soto, who's arguably a top 3 player in the entire league. That is enough for me to at least tune in to his at-bats and then watch some highlights in case he makes some plays on the outfield. I'm picking him as my NL MVP. And I love the fact that you can be on a 67-win team, a 70-win team, and still be in the conversations for MVP. Could not do that in the NBA because the NBA is less of a team sport than the MLB. You know what I'm saying? No matter how good of a season Juan Soto has, that roster, he not pulling that to the playoffs. Number 2 on my list is Trey Turner. I'm going to get a full season under the LA Dodgers, and I just feel like he has all the tools around him to do everything that he ever wanted. And then my last pick, I wanted to go Bryce Harper again, but instead I picked his teammate, Nick Castellanos. New place, And I think that this is a more hitter-friendly field than where he left in Cincy. So if that is the case, I'm expecting him to hit a couple dingers when people are saying bad news. When we get to the Cy Young, I know that there's a ton of stats. I guess MVP too. There's a ton of stats that you can look at to project. And there's WAR, there's F-WAR, there's a lot of acronyms that I don't know what they stand for. Whiff rate, I know that's one for the pitches out there. But here are my top 3 for Cy Young and the AL. Number 1 is Kevin Gausman. New team, new conference. I think last year he finished around 5 or 6 in the Cy Young voting. You know, I feel like he can replicate some of the things from last year and go above and beyond. So he's number 1 on my list. Number 2 is an obvious one, is Garrett Cole. I think everybody understands how good Garrett Cole is. And number 3 is Robbie Ray. Like I said, I'm team Mariners right now. So I'm picking Robbie Ray to do some of the stuff he did last season. Again, similar to Kevin Gausman, just replicate it and do it even better in this new situation. And the NL, I got Sandy Alcantara. I think that's right, Alcantara. The Marlins are going to be a team I'm watching a lot because Jazz Chisholm is actually the homie. Anytime any athlete follows me on social media and have had a conversation through the DMs, they are the homie. So I'm watching them a lot, and I think Sandy Alcantara can be very, very good. And it might be maybe not a sleeper pick, but he's not a guy on the likes of Corbin Burns, who's my number 2. And then my number 3 is Max Fried, man. My last memory of Max Fried is Game 6. Do you remember him in Game 6? Yeah, he doing Game 6 every single game this season that he's on the bump. So he's my number 3. Now with rookies, it's a little bit difficult for me to project these rookies, man, without any big sample size, other than watching a little bit of film and then basically regurgitating what other people have said about these guys. My rookie of the year in the AL is Bobby Witt Jr. There's a lot of people in the AL that can be in this conversation. Like we mentioned, Julio Rodriguez. There's Adley Rutschman. There's going to be, what's the pitcher name for the Rays? Is it Shane Baz? Something like that. There's going to be a lot of candidates in the AL. And of course, the NL's got some, but it don't feel like it's as stacked with this rookie class as Torkelson. Torkelson is another dude that's going to be in conversations. But in the NL, the guy I decided to go with is Seiya Suzuki. Like I said, man, I'm excited to go to Wrigley this season just to see what he's about. He struggled a little bit in spring training, and then he turned it on, hit a couple bombs, and it was just excited. And the announcer said, "See ya later." And I'm expecting to see a lot of that or hear a lot of that on the call. Manager of the year is something I didn't even put time into because I don't know any manager in the league other than La Russa. And the Rays manager, I guess I don't know him if his name is not coming to mind. I just remember people talking about him taking the ball out of Blake Snell's hands in Game 6 or something like that, and that's why they didn't win the World Series 2 years ago. I don't know if I'm bringing up bad memories for Rays fans, but I think it's like Love. Is that Love? I'm going to look it up, and I got to figure out. It's Cash. Why did I think Love? Cash. Kevin Cash. He's only 44? Wow. Okay. I should look into managers. That's got to be young for a manager, right? Or maybe I'm just so used to Tony La Russa, little old ass, that having somebody younger is just weird to me. No, Luis Rojas, 39 years old for the Mets, and then Minnesota has a 39-year-old as well. So, and the oldest in the league, you guessed it, Tony La Russa. Then you got Dusty Baker, you got Joe Madden there. Those are names I actually know because they were around when I was like a youngin'. You know what I'm saying? I remember Tony La Russa, part of the Cardinals organization with Pujols and all of that stuff. Whoa. Baseball Reference is a crazy place. Or baseball statistics in general are just miles ahead of anything. Like, I can see how many times these managers have sent somebody to steal second base. Managerial tendencies. How often are they going to intentionally walk somebody? How often do they pinch hit? Yo, that's wild, bro. Don't let me get into the statistic part of the baseball world because I will never look back. So those are the 100% accurate awards of the 2022 season. I'm expecting to see every single one of y'all on the South Side once we are having our parade. Let me know in the comment section your predictions. But again, I'm just telling you the answers right now, so it don't really matter.